In today's episode, we're exploring 5 last moments of zookeepers. From a young zookeeper who forgot the most basic safety rule during feeding time, to a veteran keeper whose overconfidence with a silverback gorilla cost her everything. Let's begin with the first story, where one woman's eagerness to prove herself led to a coordinated attack by an entire lion pride. It was April 18, 2016, and the sprawling grounds of Wildcat Haven, a private big cat sanctuary outside Austin, Texas, were settling into the quiet rhythm of evening feeding time. The 200-acre facility housed over 30 rescued lions, tigers, and other exotic cats in custom-built enclosures, surrounded by double-fenced barriers and security cameras. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the compound, while the distinctive sounds of roaring and pacing echoed from various habitats as the cats anticipated their daily meals. Chloe Anderson, a 24-year-old recent zoology graduate from Texas A&M University, was working her first professional job at the sanctuary after years of dreaming about a career in wildlife conservation. The young woman had grown up in suburban Dallas, spending her childhood volunteering at local animal shelters and reading everything she could find about big cats. Her passion for lion conservation had driven her to pursue a degree in zoology, and she had jumped at the opportunity to work hands-on with the magnificent predators she had studied for years. Chloe had been employed at Wildcat Haven for only 3 months, but her enthusiasm and dedication had already impressed the senior staff. She regularly volunteered for extra shifts, arrived early to help with morning preparations, and stayed late to assist with evening feeding routines. Her supervisor had noted that while Chloe's academic knowledge was excellent, she still needed more time to fully understand the practical aspects of working with dangerous predators. That evening, Chloe was assigned to feed the sanctuary's African lion pride, a group of 4 adults consisting of 1 dominant male, 2 females, and a younger male. The pride had been rescued from a defunct roadside zoo 3 years earlier, and had established a complex social hierarchy within their large enclosure. African lions are apex predators that live in complex social groups called prides, typically consisting of related females, their offspring, and 1 or more dominant males. Adult males can weigh up to 420 pounds and possess incredible strength, speed, and hunting instincts that remain sharp even in captivity. Lions are highly territorial animals that become extremely aggressive when defending their food sources, and they coordinate their attacks with devastating efficiency. Chloe began the feeding routine by securing the lions in their holding area, a smaller enclosure connected to the main habitat by a series of gates and tunnels. The standard protocol required keepers to visually confirm that all animals were locked in the holding area before entering the main enclosure to distribute food. Chloe had successfully completed this process and was placing meat portions at various locations throughout the habitat when disaster struck. As she positioned the final portion of meat near the back fence, Chloe accidentally knocked over the metal feeding bucket, sending it clattering across the concrete floor of the enclosure. Without thinking, she made the fatal decision to retrieve the bucket immediately, rather than following protocol by exiting the enclosure and securing the lions before re-entering. Chloe opened the gate separating the main habitat from the holding area, assuming the lions were too focused on their food to pay attention to her movements. The pride's dominant male, a 400-pound specimen named Caesar, noticed Chloe's entry immediately. Caesar launched himself at Chloe with explosive power, his 400-pound frame covering the distance between them in 3 massive bounds. His front paws struck Chloe's back with bone-crushing force, driving her face first onto the concrete floor while his claws raked across her shoulders and spine. The 2 lionesses, responding to Caesar's attack signal, abandoned their food and joined the assault with deadly coordination. The first female clamped her powerful jaws around Chloe's left arm, her crushing bite force shattering bones and severing major arteries. The second lioness attacked Chloe's legs, her razor-sharp claws opening deep gashes that immediately began bleeding profusely. Caesar's massive jaws found Chloe's neck, his powerful canine teeth puncturing through muscle and vertebrae, with devastating efficiency. The dominant male's bite force compressed Chloe's windpipe and severed vital blood vessels, causing massive trauma that made survival impossible. Within minutes, Chloe's movements ceased as the coordinated assault proved fatal. The night security guard heard Chloe's initial screams and immediately radioed for emergency assistance while rushing toward the lion enclosure. By the time backup staff arrived with tranquilizer equipment, Chloe was already dead from massive trauma and blood loss. The 4 lions were successfully sedated and relocated to separate holding areas, while investigators examined the scene. The investigation revealed that Chloe had violated fundamental safety protocols by entering the main enclosure while the lions had access to the space. The sanctuary implemented mandatory 2-person teams for all feeding operations and installed additional safety barriers to prevent similar incidents. But Chloe's tragic mistake wasn't unique among animal handlers who underestimated the dangers of working with apex predators. Across the country in Ohio, a veteran keeper's overconfidence would prove equally fatal when he encountered a Siberian tiger that had found a way to breach its containment. It was September 7th, 2015. And the morning mist hung low over the grounds of Riverside Zoo in Columbus, Ohio, as staff members began their daily routines of animal care and exhibit maintenance. The 150-acre facility housed over 2,000 animals representing species from around the world, with the big cat section being one of the most popular attractions among visitors. The crisp autumn air carried the sounds of roaring, chattering, and calling as the animals anticipated their morning meals and enrichment activities. Marcus Thompson, a 38-year-old senior animal keeper, had arrived at work early to begin routine maintenance on the Siberian tiger habitat before the zoo opened to the public. Marcus had worked with big cats for 12 years and was widely regarded as the zoo's most experienced tiger handler. His confidence and expertise had earned him the respect of younger staff members, who often sought his advice on animal behavior and safety procedures. Marcus had started his career as an entry-level keeper after dropping out of college, but his natural ability to read animal behavior and his fearless approach to dangerous situations had quickly earned him promotions. Over the years, he had developed what he considered an intuitive understanding of big cat psychology, and he often bent safety rules that he felt were excessive for someone with his experience level. That morning, Marcus was scheduled to perform routine cleaning and maintenance in the tiger enclosure, a task that required the animal to be secured in its holding area while he worked in the main habitat. The standard protocol involved multiple safety checks to ensure all gates were properly locked and the tiger was completely contained before any human entered the exhibit space. Siberian tigers are the largest cats in the world, with adult males weighing up to 660 pounds and measuring over 10 feet in length. These apex predators possess incredible strength, speed, and hunting instincts that remain sharp even in captivity. Tigers are solitary, territorial animals that become extremely aggressive when they perceive threats to their domain. Their powerful jaws can deliver bite forces exceeding 1,000 pounds per square inch, while their retractable claws can grow up to 4 inches long. Marcus began his routine by activating the shift doors that would move Sasha, the zoo's 450-pound male Siberian tiger, from the main exhibit into the holding area. He watched through the observation window as the massive cat moved through the tunnel system, but he failed to perform the required double check of all gate mechanisms before entering the exhibit. Unknown to Marcus, Sasha had learned to manipulate one of the secondary gates by using his powerful paws to lift the locking mechanism. The intelligent predator had discovered this weakness weeks earlier, but had never exploited it when humans were present. Marcus entered the main exhibit carrying cleaning supplies and maintenance tools, confident that Sasha was secure in the holding area. He had performed this routine hundreds of times without incident, and his familiarity with the process had made him complacent about safety procedures. Sasha had successfully opened the compromised gate and was moving silently through the tunnel system back toward the main exhibit. The tiger's padded paws made no sound on the concrete surfaces, and his natural stealth allowed him to approach Marcus's position without detection. Marcus was bent over examining a drain cover when Sasha emerged from the tunnel entrance behind him. The massive tiger assessed the situation with predatory calculation, recognizing Marcus as an intruder in his territory. The attack came without warning or sound. Sasha launched himself at Marcus with explosive power, his 450-pound frame covering the distance between them in 2 massive bounds. The tiger's front paws struck Marcus's back with devastating force, driving him face-first onto the wet concrete, while razor-sharp claws raked across his spine and shoulders. Marcus's radio flew from his belt and skittered across the floor as Sasha's massive weight pinned him to the ground. The tiger's powerful jaws clamped down on Marcus's neck, his 4-inch canine teeth puncturing through muscle and vertebrae with crushing force. Marcus managed to activate his emergency whistle, but the brief sound was cut short as Sasha's bite severed his spinal cord. The tiger's powerful bite force compressed Marcus's windpipe and crushed vital blood vessels, causing immediate unconsciousness and massive internal bleeding. Sasha maintained his death grip while his hind claws raked across Marcus's torso, opening deep gashes that exposed internal organs. Marcus's movements ceased within the first minute of the attack, but Sasha remained positioned over his body for several more minutes, ensuring his territory was secure. Other keepers discovered the situation when Marcus failed to respond to radio calls during the routine safety check. Emergency response teams arrived with tranquilizer equipment and successfully sedated Sasha before recovering Marcus's body. The investigation revealed the compromised gate mechanism and led to a complete overhaul of the zoo's containment systems. Marcus's death shocked the zoo community and prompted enhanced safety training programs for all animal handlers. His family filed lawsuits against the facility, arguing that inadequate maintenance had contributed to the tragedy. The incident led to industry-wide reviews of big cat containment systems and mandatory redundant safety measures. However, even facilities with the most advanced safety systems couldn't prevent tragedies when experienced handlers made critical errors in judgment. In Florida, a former veterinary technician would discover that her medical training meant nothing when she misread the behavioral signals of one of nature's most unpredictable predators. It was July 12, 2017, and the humid Florida air hung heavy over the grounds of Everglades Wildlife Preserve, a 300-acre facility dedicated to rescuing and rehabilitating native and exotic species. The preserve specialized in South American animals, housing jaguars, ocelots, and various primate species in naturalistic habitats designed to mimic their wild environments. The afternoon sun beat down on the lush vegetation, while the sounds of tropical birds and calling monkeys created a symphony of wildlife activity. Isabella Rodriguez, a 26-year-old animal keeper, was beginning her afternoon rounds of the big cat section after completing her veterinary technician training the previous year. Isabella had transitioned from domestic animal medicine to exotic animal care, drawn by her passion for wildlife conservation and her desire to work with species that few people ever encountered. Her medical background had given her valuable skills in animal health assessment, but she was still learning the behavioral nuances of wild predators. Isabella had been working at the preserve for 8 months, gradually building her expertise with the facility's collection of South American cats. Her supervisor had repeatedly warned her that jaguars were particularly unpredictable compared to other big cats, with behavioral patterns that could shift rapidly from calm to aggressive without obvious warning signs. That afternoon, Isabella was conducting routine health observations of Luna, a 180-pound female jaguar that had been rescued from illegal captivity in Brazil. Luna had been at the preserve for 2 years and had shown steady improvement in her physical condition, but she remained wary of human contact and displayed occasional signs of stress-related behaviors. Jaguars are the 3rd largest cats in the world and the apex predators of South America, with adult females weighing up to 200 pounds and possessing the strongest bite force of any big cat. These solitary hunters are known for their ability to crush turtle shells and crocodile skulls with their powerful jaws, which can deliver bite forces exceeding 1,500 pounds per square inch. Jaguars are excellent swimmers and climbers, and they are renowned for their stealth and patience when hunting. Isabella entered Luna's enclosure following standard safety protocols, ensuring the jaguar was secured in the holding area before beginning her cleaning routine. She had observed Luna through the observation window and noted that the cat appeared unusually lethargic, lying motionless in her favorite resting spot near the back of the holding area. Isabella's veterinary training immediately raised concerns about Luna's apparent lack of energy. Her medical instincts overrode her safety training as she decided to get a closer look at the Jaguar's condition. Isabella approached the barrier separating the main exhibit from the holding area, moving slowly and speaking in soft tones to avoid startling Luna. What Isabella failed to recognize was that Luna was exhibiting classic stalking behavior rather than illness. The Jaguar had been tracking Isabella's movements from the moment she entered the enclosure, remaining perfectly still while calculating the optimal moment to strike. Luna's explosive attack came without any warning signs that Isabella's limited experience with wild cats would have recognized. The 180-pound Jaguar launched herself at the barrier with incredible speed and power, her muscular frame covering the distance in a single bound. Luna's front paws struck the chain-link barrier with enough force to bend the metal mesh, while her powerful jaws snapped at Isabella's position. Isabella stumbled backward in shock, but Luna's incredible agility allowed her to reach through gaps in the barrier and grab Isabella's arm with her massive paw. The Jaguar's razor-sharp claws sank deep into Isabella's flesh, holding her in place, while Luna's powerful jaws sought a killing bite through the barrier. Luna's powerful jaws found purchase on Isabella's shoulder through a gap in the barrier, her crushing bite force shattering the collarbone and severing major arteries. The Jaguar's 4-inch canine teeth punctured deep into muscle and bone, while her incredible jaw strength compressed vital blood vessels. The Jaguar's hind claws raked across Isabella's chest and abdomen as Luna tried to pull her prey closer to the barrier. Each swipe opened deep gashes that exposed underlying organs and caused massive blood loss. Other keepers arrived within minutes, but Luna's aggressive posture made immediate intervention impossible. Isabella's movements ceased, as massive blood loss and crushing injuries to vital organs proved fatal. Emergency responders arrived with tranquilizer equipment and successfully sedated Luna after a tense standoff. The investigation revealed that Isabella had violated safety protocols by approaching too close to the barrier, mistaking the Jaguar's hunting behavior for signs of illness. The preserve installed motion sensor alarms in all big cat enclosures and enhanced training programs for staff members. Isabella's death prompted industry-wide reviews of safety protocols for veterinary assessments of dangerous animals. Her family established a foundation promoting safety education for wildlife caregivers, ensuring her dedication to animal welfare would continue through enhanced protection for both animals and their human caretakers. Yet even the most experienced zookeeper sometimes fell victim to the unpredictable nature of apex predators, particularly when overconfidence led them to take unnecessary risks with animals they believed they understood. It was May 30th, 2014, and the pristine mountain wilderness surrounding the Rocky Mountain Wildlife Center stretched endlessly across the Colorado landscape under brilliant spring sunshine. The 500-acre facility specialized in bear rehabilitation and research, housing rescued grizzly and black bears in large, naturalistic enclosures designed to prepare them for eventual release back into the wild. The crisp mountain air carried the scent of pine and wildflowers, while the distant sounds of rushing streams provided a peaceful backdrop to the center's important conservation work. David Kim, a 33-year-old zookeeper, was preparing for the routine medical examination of Bruno, a massive 600-pound male grizzly bear that had been rescued as an orphaned cub 5 years earlier. David had worked at the Wildlife Center for over 8 years, quietly dedicating himself to the daily care and rehabilitation of rescued bears throughout the Rocky Mountain region. His steady work ethic and calm demeanor around dangerous animals had made him a trusted member of the facility's animal care team. David was known among his colleagues as a reliable, no-nonsense keeper who preferred working with the animals to seeking attention or recognition. He had helped raise Bruno from a small cub into a massive adult male, spending countless hours ensuring the bear received proper nutrition, medical care, and enrichment activities. David took quiet satisfaction in his work, knowing that his efforts contributed to successful bear rehabilitation and eventual release back into the wild. That afternoon, David was scheduled to assist with administering routine vaccinations and collecting blood samples from Bruno as part of the center's ongoing health monitoring program. The procedure required the bear to be sedated with a combination of drugs delivered via dart gun, followed by a waiting period to ensure the sedative had taken full effect before any human contact occurred. Grizzly bears are among North America's most powerful predators, with adult males weighing up to 800 pounds and possessing incredible strength even when partially sedated. These massive omnivores retain all their wild instincts regardless of human contact, and they can become extremely aggressive when they feel threatened or disoriented. Grizzly bears have been known to fight off the effects of sedatives through sheer adrenaline, particularly when their territorial instincts are triggered. David successfully darted Bruno with the sedative and watched through the observation window as the massive bear gradually became less active. However, his eagerness to complete the medical procedures before the end of his shift led him to enter Bruno's enclosure before the recommended waiting period had elapsed. Bruno appeared to be fully unconscious as David approached with his medical equipment, but the massive grizzly was actually only partially sedated. The bear's incredible metabolism and body mass had prevented the drugs from taking full effect, leaving him disoriented but still capable of explosive movement. David had begun setting up his medical equipment when Bruno's eyes suddenly opened, focusing on the human intruder in his territory. The partially sedated bear's confusion and disorientation triggered his defensive instincts, and he perceived David's presence as an immediate danger that needed to be eliminated. Bruno's attack was swift and devastating despite his compromised state. The 600-pound grizzly exploded from his resting position with surprising speed, his massive frame covering the distance to David in 2 powerful bounds. The bear's enormous paw struck David's chest with bone-crushing force, driving him backward into the concrete wall of the enclosure, while razor-sharp claws raked across his torso. David's radio flew from his belt as Bruno's massive weight pinned him against the wall. The bear's powerful jaws clamped down on David's head and neck, his crushing bite force fracturing skull bones and severing vital arteries. Bruno's powerful bite compressed David's windpipe and caused massive trauma to his cervical spine, making survival impossible. The bear's claws continued to rake across David's body, opening deep gashes that exposed internal organs and caused additional blood loss. The grizzly's assault continued for several minutes, his partially sedated state making him even more unpredictable and dangerous than usual. David's movements ceased as the massive bear's brutal assault proved fatal. Other staff members discovered the situation when David failed to respond to routine radio checks. Emergency response teams arrived with additional tranquilizer equipment and successfully sedated Bruno after determining it was safe to approach. The investigation revealed that David had entered the enclosure before the sedative had taken full effect, violating established safety protocols. David's death sent shockwaves through the wildlife rehabilitation community and prompted enhanced sedation protocols at facilities nationwide. Bruno was transferred to a more secure facility with stricter containment measures, as his association with a human fatality made him unsuitable for the center's rehabilitation program. But even the most secure facilities and experienced handlers couldn't prevent every tragedy, particularly when split-second decisions led to fatal encounters with animals whose strength and unpredictability made them inherently dangerous to work with. It was November 14, 2018, and the urban landscape of Golden Gate Zoo in San Francisco was bustling with the activity of staff members preparing for another busy day of public education and animal care. The 100-acre facility housed over 1,000 animals representing species from around the world, with the primate section being one of the most popular and scientifically important areas of the zoo. The cool morning air carried the sounds of chattering, calling, and the distant hum of city traffic as staff members began their daily routines. Sarah Mitchell, a 31-year-old senior primate keeper, was beginning her morning rounds in the gorilla habitat, home to the zoo's family group of western lowland gorillas. Sarah had worked in the primate section for 6 years and was widely respected for her dedication to gorilla welfare and her expertise in great ape behavior. She maintained a small social media presence with 900 followers, sharing educational content about gorilla conservation and the importance of protecting these magnificent primates in the wild. Sarah had developed what she believed was a trusting relationship with the zoo's silverback gorilla, a 350-pound male named Congo, who had been born in captivity and raised by human caregivers. Her years of daily interaction with Congo had given her confidence in her ability to read his moods and behavioral patterns, and she often spent extra time observing his activities and documenting his social interactions with the other gorillas. That morning, Sarah noticed that Congo appeared unusually agitated, pacing back and forth near the front of his enclosure while making aggressive vocalizations. Construction work on a nearby exhibit had been ongoing for several days, and the unfamiliar sounds of heavy machinery and power tools had been causing stress among several of the zoo's animals. Western lowland gorillas are among the most powerful primates on Earth, with adult males weighing up to 400 pounds and possessing the strength of 10 grown men. Silverback males are highly territorial and will aggressively defend their family groups against any perceived threats. Gorillas communicate through complex vocalizations, body language, and displays of dominance that can escalate rapidly from warning signals to violent attacks. Their massive hands can grip with crushing force, while their powerful jaws contain sharp canine teeth capable of inflicting severe wounds. Sarah's decision to approach Congo's enclosure was motivated by her genuine concern for his welfare and her belief that her presence might help calm his agitation. She approached the reinforced glass barrier that separated visitors and staff from the gorilla habitat, speaking in the soft, reassuring tones she had used with Congo for years. Congo's territorial instincts had been heightened by days of stress from the unfamiliar construction sounds, and Sarah's approach triggered his protective response. The massive gorilla perceived her presence near his territory as a challenge to his dominance, particularly given his already agitated state from the ongoing environmental stressors. The silverback's charge toward the barrier was explosive and terrifying. Congo's 350-pound frame struck the reinforced glass with tremendous force, causing visible cracks to appear in the supposedly impenetrable barrier. The gorilla's massive fists pounded against the glass while he displayed his enormous canine teeth and made threatening vocalizations that echoed throughout the primate building. Sarah began backing away from the barrier, but Congo's incredible strength had compromised the integrity of the safety glass. The silverback's continued assault on the barrier caused additional cracks to spread across the surface, and within seconds, a section of the glass gave way under the tremendous pressure. Congo's massive arm reached through the opening in the damaged barrier, his powerful hand grabbing Sarah's shoulder and pulling her towards the compromised glass. The gorilla's grip strength, exceeding 1,800 pounds per square inch, crushed bones in Sarah's shoulder and arm, while his other hand reached for her head and neck. Sarah's screams alerted other keepers throughout the primate building, but Congo's aggressive posture and protective stance made immediate intervention extremely dangerous. The silverback's powerful hands inflicted crushing injuries to Sarah's head and torso while she remained trapped against the damaged barrier. Congo's territorial fury drove him to continue the assault until he was certain the perceived threat had been eliminated. Sarah's attempts to escape were futile against an animal possessing overwhelming physical advantages and territorial instincts that demanded the complete removal of any challenge to his dominance. Sarah's movements ceased as the massive gorilla's crushing grip and powerful blows proved fatal. The silverback was eventually sedated after a tense standoff that lasted nearly an hour. The investigation revealed that the construction noise had created unprecedented stress levels among the primates, leading to heightened territorial behavior that made normal interactions dangerous. Congo was relocated to a quieter section of the zoo with enhanced barriers, while all primate enclosures received reinforced safety systems to prevent similar breaches. Sarah's death devastated the zoo community and prompted industry-wide reviews of barrier integrity and stress management protocols for captive primates. Her family established a foundation promoting gorilla conservation in the wild, ensuring her dedication to protecting these magnificent animals would continue through enhanced habitat preservation efforts. Thanks for watching. Just when you think you've seen the most tragic examples, we're just getting started. Click the next video that will show you why even the most dedicated animal professionals can fall victim to split-second decisions that prove fatal.